this analogy recently with somebody, and I think it fits pretty well. For me, much of mentoring is like being a lazy sheepdog. And you know what sheepdogs do is they run around the sheep to keep them in a group and move them forward. And I think of really a sheepdog that's maybe aggressive, is nipping at their heels all the time. I don't think I want to do that. I think the sheepdog needs to kind of keep the group of sheep going in a direction, but not so tightly controlled. And so I certainly don't think I'm lazy. I don't think I'd be accused about that by anyone. But I think that lazy sheepdog analogy for mentoring is one style of mentoring that can be very good. And for me, that's a style that promotes independence. And I think that is one really helpful outcome.
I think the most important thing is listen more than you talk. And for somebody like me, because I love to talk, sometimes that's hard. But I think initially when we're starting that process, when we're just, sort of moving into that role as mentors, like I remember back when I was a brand spanking new psychologist, I still had my own insecurities about what I knew and what I didn't know. And so I feel like I sometimes with my mentees, I talked more about me and my experience rather than hearing where they wanted to go. And what I learned over time and reflecting on the relationships that were so important to me, going through my career, it was when I had a mentor that sat back and said, so where do you want to go? How is that feeling? Because when you did that, you said it didn't feel good. What do you think you would have liked to have done differently? Well, let me make this observation and let me put things out there, and you take off the table what's good for you. So I think the best advice is listen more than you speak, and remember that it is their journey, not yours. And so we're using our experience when we mentor as an example, as sort of tools and material that they can use. But they have their own skills and abilities and strengths and directions and passions. And so we want to make sure that the mentee is taking the road that they want to take and that we're facilitating that.
I would caution mentors against a belief that this is a commitment that could be relegated to specific times and dates. It's a commitment to invite a mentee in for ongoing consultation, discussion, conversation, and sometimes that will be pretty uncomfortable for everyone. At the times that it comes up, sometimes it's the end of a planned work day, or it might be during dinner, during personal time. Like I found with raising my own children, it's not necessarily about the quality of time. One has to be available and make that commitment for a certain quantity of time. I think one needs to convey, I have time for you to raise your concerns, ask questions, and expose your insecurities. And I'm not going to use those against you. I think that's a really important foundation to have. And just like the children and families we work with, some mentees are more congenial, appear to be a more natural fit for the work. I think we have to be aware of our own tendencies to judge when we see what we perceive as limitations or personality quirks. Don't underestimate the impact you have when you're communicating respect and confidence in the intern or mentee's ability to learn and thrive in that mentoring relationship.
So for me personally, I need somebody that's very straightforward, so it's not just telling you what they think you want to hear. Do you know what I mean? That sometimes it's saying something that might be difficult to say to someone. And you're not trying to be difficult, you're trying to help them move and progress, whatever that means. So and it's got, but I think that trustworthiness and openness is fundamental, because if you don't have that and then someone says something that could be hard to hear, you're not going to take it in the same way. It's
questions there, but my model of supervision is, or what I think about supervision is based upon an experience I had as a parent. And that is that when my daughter was first learning to ride a bicycle, maybe other parents have this experience as well, but you have an opportunity as a parent to either put training wheels on the bike, or you kind of just walk along beside them and then kind of gradually let off. Well, I'm not a training wheels kind of a guy. I'm a life experience kind of guy. If you're going to fall over, you're going to fall over, and you get up and do it again. And that's my model for how I do mentorship as well. It's hands off. It's not, it's kind of like, let them ride, let them do their thing, show their stuff, show the excellence that they've been trained to do. And I'm there, I'm going to be there if they need me at any point in time in their career. And sometimes you go for several years and you don't hear anyone like that. So my advice, I guess, to mentors is to either take the training wheels off or don't put them on. Just kind of let the mentee do their thing and show the world the great training that they've had up to that point in time, but then to be available for them.
And when I look back, I've been blessed with having really, really bright colleagues and trainees. And so I always tell them, I'm not planning on teaching you anything about psychology. Hell, at this point, they were better trained than I was so I didn't have much in terms of psychology to teach them. I wanted to teach them about everything else. I guess very similar to my first mentor. And what's worked for me as a mentor is, I said, informal, to look for those opportunities to mentor when the moment occurs, to not let school interfere with your education. So if we have an opportunity to talk about something important, we'll talk about that thing that's important. For me, I think what's worked well is, with my trainees, is the stories I tell. And most of the stories are about how I screwed up. So because oftentimes what happens when you're mentoring someone, something has happened where the mentee feels bad. Something has gone bad or gone south. And I think one of the things that I found most effective is to tell them a worse story about myself. Informal, collaborative. I think the other thing with a mentoring relationship is that it is a partnership, and that I think if you do mentoring right, you'll get more than just the satisfaction of mentoring out of it. You're going to actually learn something. My mentees bring something to the table that I don't have. They have interesting experiences and perspectives on looking at on life and issues that I don't have based on my life experiences. And so I've really valued the growth that I've had from them. And so I think being aware of that.
The best thing is to have some fun with it. And to look for the strengths in the person that you're mentoring and really build on those strengths in that person, and just enjoy the relationship, enjoy the ride of it, and getting to know people, and just kind of approach it as an exciting opportunity to develop a relationship and have a tremendous impact.
I have worked for WVU for many years. And every January, I decide to stay for another year. So I don't stay any place out of inertia. I don't just do it because I do it. So I think one of the valuable things about being a mentor is it allows you to sort of cut yourself in half and count the rings. And you get to determine why do you do what you do? Why do you like doing what you do? Why would you want to share this with someone else? I tell people, I would, if asked, would I be a psychologist again? I'd tell them absolutely. I would choose the career again because so many things we can do. It's a very exciting career. So to me, it's an incessant reaffirmation, if you will, of the decisions that I've made earlier in my life, that I can so comfortably say, you've made the right decision, you're in the right profession, and let's get you to the next stage so that you can be successful down the road. When a sculptor looks at a chunk of marble, they don't see the marble, they see the statue. And oftentimes the chunk of marble is not aware that they're about to be a statue. So it's kind of your job to envision it and then share your vision with the student who ultimately will be the next PA or whatever.